Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today. Today, we're talking love and marriage huntsville. You guys know why you are here. And the rumor out here in these intranet streets is she by Sheree allegedly is paying Martell Holt to be her boyfriend on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She by Sheree, really? I don't know if I buy this for the simple fact that this is the same Sheree Whitfield who refused to pay her hairstylist, refused to pay her contractors, which is why Chateau Sheree, aka Neverland Sheree, took forever to be, built on Real Housewives of Atlanta and kept getting all of these delays and everything else. And, it got to a point where people didn't even think it was going to happen. And then we had the She by Sheree joggers that, finally got up and running several years later, you guys. And now you expect me to believe that after everything, Sheree is paying men to be her boyfriend. I refuse to believe it, you guys. I refuse to believe it for the simple fact that Sheree can't even pay the people that have been with her for years and years and years, right? Does she even pay Phaedra Parks to represent her in her battle with her ex, Bob? like, was that even, for real, or was that pro bono? Make it make sense, you guys. I refuse to believe Sheree pays anybody anything, you guys. I think Martell is this attention starved and this fame hungry and this obsessed with trying to prove something to people that he would go on Bravo for free, you guys. That's how desperate Martell Holt is, you guys. I refuse to believe for a second, even as desperate as Sheree Whitfield is, that she is resorting to handing out money for men to pretend to be her man for TV, when we had a whole Tyrone storyline who was supposed to be on TV that never showed, you guys. Just last season. Never showed up at all. Meanwhile, Sheree was talking about him, on days on end, getting advice from fellow convict Apollo on how she should handle her convicted felon, Tyrone, who wanted nothing to do with her, you guys. Who wanted absolutely nothing to do with her. And now you want me to believe that she is paying Martell Holt? Now, if you said Candy's husband, Todd Tucker, or if you said Kenya Moore's soon-to-be ex-husband, Mark Daly, then I might believe you guys. But we're talking about Martell. Broke Martell, who makes it a point to tell anyone and everyone who is listening that he'd rather be a broke father than be rich and have no time for his kids, allegedly. You know what? The jokes write themselves, right? The jokes write themselves. I just can't see it with Sheree's history. With her being hired and fired so many times on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, that she would stoop to this level. She stooped to already low levels, in the first place, and tacking on Martell Holt, who allegedly was interested in Kenya Moore first, who said a big bleep no to playing her boyfriend on the show. So that can only tell me this is some plan that is concocted by maybe a producer, or, Martell maybe had this great idea because he's trying to look for his next Melody Sheree, guys. He is trying to look for his next Melody Sheree that can take him under their wing and basically do all of the work for him and make the money, and then he can just smile at the red carpet events as if he contributed anything, you guys. I cannot see this other than, Martell trying to maybe parlay his way into other reality shows and trying to parlay his way into other opportunities on Bravo, you guys. But if this was coming from anyone else, I would be like, oh yeah, for sure, Martell's getting paid. But I don't think he is. I don't think Sheree has a history of not paying people. So it wouldn't make sense for her to all of a sudden pay Martell out of all these people, you guys. Like, I'm not seeing it at all. Isn't he getting a producer check as well as a cast member check from Love and Marriage Huntsville to begin with? Isn't he going to Atlanta, practically every other weekend, it seems? I don't think there needs to be any additional incentive, you guys. I truly don't. Because isn't he cool with Portia's baby daddy, Dennis? I don't think Dennis was getting paid to be on the show. Right? He might have gotten something for Portia's spinoff, but he definitely, I don't think, was getting anything for Real Housewives. So that is something that definitely the likes of Todd Tucker and, Kenya Moore's husband definitely were trying to negotiate, you guys, who wanted to quote unquote get their share, right, of of all of this foolery or whatever else. And I can't rock with it, you guys. If it was anyone else but Sheree, I would say absolutely. But even as desperate as Sheree is, she has a history of not paying people. So why would you further downgrade yourself and pay the likes of Martell Holt, who is a complete menace to society, you guys? Like, I cannot see it at all. He literally has on the same blazer, the same white blazer he wears to every single event or party, still has Melody Sheree's fur. You want me to believe that Martell is getting a paycheck from Sheree Whitfield? Because I can't. I cannot, you guys. I cannot. I'm sorry. I can't. Like, she doesn't pay her people. Those of you who watch Real Housewives know what I'm talking about. She does not pay people. Like, period. Full stop. So I can't rock with it, right? But with that being said, what are we expecting this season? Like, what is this storyline supposed to be? I actually wasn't going to even watch Real Housewives this year because it just has completely, fell off the face of the earth. But Potomac is saying, hold my beer, let me completely ruin the show altogether. So now I may have to tune back in to Real Housewives of Atlanta just to see the foolishness of this Martell storyline. And I personally want to see Kenya Moore argue with Martell and put him on blast and expose him hitting on her and being in her DMs first, you guys. And that's why I don't believe that Sheree is paying anybody. I believe Martell was this desperate to find his next Melody Sheree that he would go on Bravo for free. That he would beg Andy Cohen, for a spot, or have Carlos King call up, any of his connections or whatever the case may be to get him on that platform. I don't think there was anything further if he was already trying to holler at Kenya Moore first. That doesn't sound like somebody who's getting paid. That sounds like somebody who is trying to get exposure, who is trying to open up themselves to a new audience and be viewed as eye candy for those who do not know his history on Love and Marriage Huntsville, and to open himself to a broader Bravo audience, you guys. That's what I think this is about. To get that exposure in that demographic, because Bravo's demographic is not the same demographic that watches Love and Marriage Huntsville, you guys. So he would go on that show for free. He would go on that show without a check, without anything in mind, because the way he has been moving and the way he's been treating Sheree is not moving like somebody who's getting a check out of this. Is not moving like somebody's getting a check out of this at all. Because if he was, I would expect Martell to really hype this up, to post Sheree all over his social media, to really go hard in the paint and really try to sell this quote-unquote relationship to get people to tune into the show. And he is doing none of that, you guys. He is doing none of that, right? Unless you were at these events, that's how you know that him and Sheree are there, right? And then people will take video and everything else, because Martell basically doesn't discuss it at all, right? He lets everyone else do the talking for him. So therefore, if he was getting paid, it would be all over his Instagram. He would have the red carpet out. He would have new clothes. He would not be wearing old crap to these events that, we've seen him recycle over and over and everything else. He would not be moving like somebody who is desperate to be seen anywhere and everywhere, to have the false appearance that he has moved on from Melody Sheree, you guys. Meanwhile, in his free time, he is completely terrorizing Melody Sheree and stalking Melody Sheree and having internet meltdowns and internet tantrums. That is not a part of a contract if you are allegedly getting paid by Sheree, right? If you are getting allegedly paid to be somebody's boyfriend, you're going to play the part to a T and not say or do anything that's going to mess up that bag, right? And if you're still hooking up with your side chick / baby mama of your last child, you're definitely not going to jeopardize that check, right? By, quickly getting yourself exposed. So there is that. So that's why I don't believe it, right? But I do believe that there are husbands that are getting paid. I just don't believe that it's Martell, because he can't even act like, he's somebody's boyfriend at this point. So he's even doing just the bare minimum so that he can avoid paying child support for, his youngest child. And Melody Sheree said, thanks, but no thanks. You're too broke to even try to provide anything. So I'm not even going to even request any support from you, which is gangsta. But I respect it because why go through it, right? Why waste the money with lawyers and attorneys and everything else for somebody that is already just making your life a living hell? Make it make sense. So there is that. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.